In week 2, we looked at social, emotional, physical, and intellectual growth. Some things I learned in both the tutorial and the lecture are things such as well-being and how it is constructed into 5 measurable elements, which are positive emotion, which includes happiness and life satisfaction, engagement, relationships, meaning, and achievement. Another thing that we looked at was Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which are broken down into different categories. They are musical, which has been musical smart, bodily kinesthetic, which has been body smart, interpersonal, which has been people smart, verbal linguistic, which has been word smart, logical, mathematical, which has been logic smart, naturalistic, which has been nature smart, intrapersonal, which has been self smart, and lastly, visual spatial, which has been picture smart. Another thing we looked at was mindsets and how somebody can have a good or a bad mindset. An example of a bad mindset is a fixed mindset, where your intelligence is fixed or permanent, and if you do make a mistake or suffer a setback, it can be disheartening and can deter you from doing the same activity to make that mistake. An example of a good mindset is a growth mindset, where your mindset is changing, and if you do make a setback or have a mistake, then you'll build on it, and next time you do that, you will not make the same mistake. We came to the conclusion that a teacher should have a growth mindset because they have to influence the students, and if the teacher makes some mistakes, they should be able to learn from it so next time they do not make that same mistake. We also looked at the power of yet and what the power of yet actually is. We watched a video by a professor in the United States by the name of Carol Dweck, who gave a rough explanation of what the power of yet is. And to simplify it down, it is pretty much a frame of mind. So for an example, if you are doing an assignment and it is a little bit too hard for you, you do not put that away and say, I can never do it. You just say, I cannot do it yet. And you go away, do some study. So then hopefully next time you come back to it, you can do it. An example of how you could use mindsets in a future classroom as a teacher and as in an activity is get students to work out which mindset they are. And if they are a fixed mindset, give them ways or get them to come up with ways where they could become a growth mindset. In week 4, we looked at cognitive development and learning theories. Some different learning theories that we looked at were behavioral learning theory, which is theorized by Pavlov and Skinner, social cognitive learning theories, which is theorized by Bandura, and the cognitive developmental theories, which is theorized by Piaget. A learning theory that I'm interested in is Piaget's theory of cognitive development, which has been broken down into 4 stages. They are sensoromotor, which is the ages of 0 to 2 years old, pre-operational, the ages of 2 to 6 years old, concrete operational, which is the ages of 7 to 12 years old, and formal operational, which is the ages of 12-year-old to an adult. I like this theory because it gives you a view of how people learn differently. For example, if you're in the pre-operational stage of 2 to 6, you might learn better by reading a book and looking at the pictures and being told something, rather than sitting there and reading. And on the flip side, if you're in the formal operational stage, as a 12-year-old to an adult, you might learn better by reading a long book or looking at a report and doing a bit more study that you're capable of. In week 7, we looked at student confidence and character strengths, and how student confidence intertwines with the Victorian curriculum under the personal and social capability section. We also looked at character strengths, which are different strengths that different people have. They will be different for each person, and ways that as a teacher you can use these as yourself and in a classroom. For an example, using character strengths in a classroom might be seeing how each students learn and giving them the best opportunity to learn. For example, if a student likes working in groups, get them to work in a group. If they like working on their own, get them to work on their own. We also did a character strength survey for ourselves, where we could understand what our character strengths were. And as you can see on the screen here, my character strengths were self-regulation, hope, love, perseverance, and curiosity. An example of some resources or activities that you could use for character strengths as a future teacher would be something that we did in a tutorial, which was doing the test ourselves and then doing a visual representation of our top 5 character strengths. And as you can see here, I've done that by drawing different illustrations about the different words. Something else you could do is when the students find out what the character strengths are, get them to pick one character strength and how it involves with their life and why it is true. For example, we did this, and one of my character strengths is perseverance, which I'm currently having to deal with now while having a broken leg. So I'm using perseverance to be able to learn how to walk again, and hopefully use perseverance to be out there and play football in the coming 12 months.